Welcome to another edition of the Sim Racing Garage. I'm Barry Rowland. In this episode, we'll be reviewing the Prisma racing seat from the guys at NRG. Now, I've been looking for a seat that you can mount to your cockpit that, without breaking the bank, can deliver the comfort and stiffness of the more expensive offerings from brand names like OMP, Sparco, Bride, those kind of guys. Time to put this Prisma racing seat through the SRG's review process and see if it can deliver. So, let's get to it. Now for a closer look at our NRG Prisma racing seat. Now, first off, the covering is the first thing that really made an impact on me when I took it out of the box. And it's got this Alcantara-like material. I don't think it is Alcantara. I think it's more like of a velour or something. And I'm actually, let me see if I can, there we go. And of course, all these cushions, just like a real race seat, are easily removable so that we can replace them. And the foam inside, we can see what the foam is. This is that white stuff in there. It's kind of a dense foam. It doesn't compress very easily. Hope that Velcro didn't rattle your ears when you were listening to it. And you can see it's kind of a velour. It's a little bit too long, I think, for the Alcantara, but it reminds me of the Porsches and Audis I've been in, that the high performance ones that yeah, they have this kind of material on it. Really feels nice. And yeah, very stiff foam is what you, and of course that's what we want in a race car seat. We don't want some cushy soft foam because you don't want it compressing too much if you get in an accident. You want to be strapped tightly to the shell of the seat. We also have one, this is removable. All this is removable, which is just like a real race car seat should be. We can remove all these and replace them as needed rather. So yeah, you can remove all these, and you can see we've got the Velcro up here in the front and in the back. And we also have a 5-point, 6-point harness hole here, which is very nice. Yeah, I can actually put my 6-point harness through here when I mount it over on the rig. So yeah, it's just, everything is really well done here. I don't see any strings, threads hanging out. The normal kind of thing that we would see if, it wasn't a very good build. We have on the side here, let's go ahead and put these guys back in so they stay out of the way. We have on the side here some, which way is this going? I think it goes this way. No, this way. Okay, I got it. And then the big one goes this way. We have the side seat belt holes here, and of course we have the harness ones on top. Now this comes with this NRG seat bracket combination, and you can see right here all the holes that we have we can mount it to. Only 3 holes on the side for mounting, but again, this is a standard pattern for most race car seats. That, yeah, a regular bracket, and in fact I'm going to be using the different brackets with this. But this is a nice steel basic bracket that comes with the seat itself. And on the bottom here, of course, we can see our hole again. We have a cable and the spring, which is typical of these types of race car seats, the one-piece bucket fiberglass shells that, it just keeps the seat cover on very tightly. And when you need to replace the seat cover, of course, we can just undo this and loosen that tension and the whole cover comes off. Of course, you have to pop out some of the plastic pieces here, like our shoulder harness access holes here, which are nice looking. All right, so let's go ahead and move around to the back. And first off, you can see, I don't know how this is going to show up. It has a pattern on it. Let's get a little closer there. There we go. It's kind of a reinforcement rib pattern going on here. And again, very hard, very stiff seat. Now, this is not FIA certified. And that's one of the reasons why it's a $350 seat or whatever that is. $300 to $350, I think you can get them for. And yeah, but still, it's a very stiff seat. When you sit in this, in fact, if I pull on the sides, there's no flex that I can tell. So yeah, very stiff seat, and that's what you want in a race car seat, obviously. Now, it has this wild-looking metal flake, and I'm going to give you a B-roll shot of that. This metal flake is actually, it's got like purples and greens, and yeah, it's pretty wild-looking. It's just got some, and it really in person it looks better, obviously, because it's underneath this clear coat resin here, so it's got like that 3-dimensional look to it. So at first I wasn't sure about it, but I tell you, it's really growing on me. You know, I'm old school. I love metal flake in paint jobs. Like, you know, I grew up with that kind of stuff. Well, you saw a lot of metal flake paint jobs, and they just look beautiful. And this actually looks very good. I mean, like I said, once you get used to it a little bit, you know, I said, well, I'm not sure about the multicolor. I would rather have seen like all like pearl or gold or something. But yeah, this kind of grows on you. Anyway, so there you have it. Not much else to see. I mean, it is a seat, right? So the biggest test will be once we have this mounted to the rig and we're actually driving in it and see how it feels in general. But again, fit and finish on this, yeah, I can't find anything to complain about there. They did a pretty good job on it. And you know, when you're looking for a seat for your rig, instead of buying a $800 plus Sparco Bride or OMP or something like that, this is definitely a good choice, I think, so far. But you know, we still got to get in and run it. But so far, it looks like it's going to do the job quite well. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and mount it up to the rig and start driving it. So here's our Prisma seat mounted to the awesome JCL V4 D-Box equipped 4DOF motion simulator. And I wanted to show you this because you have to have a 6-point, 5-point harness to fully realize the surge function of this simulator. And I know there's going to be some guys that are buying this seat that are also going to be using it in their cars for track days, things like that. And just want to show you that, yeah, no problem here with a 6-point or 5-point harness, because remember the hole I showed you in the bottom here of the seat that allows this to come through. And of course, this is the 6-point harness. You can see it has 2 straps on it, so we have some generous room there in between when it comes up between our legs. I used to have a 5-point. Trust me, a 6-point is the only way to go. It's a lot more comfortable. And yeah, it looks good sitting here, as you might imagine. No problems mounting it because it has the industry standard race car seat bolt pattern here, or bolt spacing, and mounted to this JCL side mount bracket with no issues. And we'll just kind of walk around the side here. And yeah, there's the wild metal flake again. I swear this is really growing on me, and I've had a few sim racers over here that have actually been in this, and yeah, they were kind of liking the metal flake also. So like I said, it grows on you. When I first saw it, I wasn't sure, but yeah, it's pretty good. And the material here is, once you're sitting in this, it feels like some kind of Alcantara, but I'm not sure what it is, but it sure feels good. It feels better than my Sparco seat does, even though I still prefer my Sparco because it just fits my little body tighter than this one does. But it's still, yeah, no problem using it. And anybody that got in it enjoyed it. Right, so not much else to see. Again, just the seat sitting in the cockpit, and I'll obviously give you guys some footage of me actually driving in it, and a couple other guys. I'll maybe even put some B-roll in there of the other sim racers that were in here trying this rig out, and yeah, they were in the seat also. So yeah, we'll just get to some driving next. So here we are in iRacing in the Porsche 911 RSR at Lime Rock. And this is a little demonstration for, and really you can't really see much, but I'm trying to describe what I'm feeling here. And it's all about this seat being stiff enough to support my lower back under heavy braking, which you'll see right here. And yeah, right there, when you're getting into the turn 1, you're in heavy on the brakes, and this puts stress on your lower back as it presses against the back of the seat in the little cup area there. And yeah, I've had flexi seats before, and it doesn't support your back properly, and yeah, you can really be hurting when you get out of a cockpit if you don't have the proper support back there, if you're hitting the brakes a lot on longer stints, or you know, a full-length race. And yeah, I don't know about you guys if you've ever experienced that, but I have gotten out of a cockpit before after an hour or two and just felt, my lower back's killing me. But this seat is right up there, like I said before, with my Sparco Evo 2 seat. Or no, it's actually the Evo, not the Evo 2. The Evo 2 is actually a larger seat from Sparco. But yeah, this gives me all the support I need, and I feel pretty good when I get out of this seat, just as well as I do out of the Sparco seat that I use. So the stiffness is right up there, like I said before in the earlier parts of this review, with my Sparco, and I can appreciate that. And that's one thing I think a lot of people miss out on if they get a seat that has a reclining back. You know, a bucket seat gives you much more support in that area than a reclining back seat will, just because of the hinge area in that seat. Right. So good back support, and also if you'll probably notice by now that this platform is moving, and it's the JCL V4 D-Box equipped 4DOF that has the surge function in it, along with the usual heave, pitch, and roll, which is very, very cool. Quite awesome. If you ever get a chance to use one of these, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the action of the surge is pushing the cockpit forward, and that's pulling the harness back against the back of this seat, my body back against the top part of the seat. Now this is where the less expensive seats will have some flex also, is in the top of that seat, and you do not want that if you're ever going to have, you know, a harness on, even if you don't have the surge function that this JCLV4 system has. But yeah, it really gives you that tight feeling and maximizes the surge potential of this cockpit, whereas a seat that was bendy in the back just wouldn't have the same feel, and you lose some tactile feedback that you get from the surge element in this cockpit. So that's another thing to think about when you're getting the seat. Now also, size, how big a person is. As I said before, I'm not that big. I'm 5'8", about 150 pounds or so. And yeah, I had some other guys though that are certainly larger than I am get in the seat, and I let them drive while they were testing out this cockpit. And yeah, both of these guys that you see here in this segment, they loved the seat. They had nothing but praise for it, and you know, it was comfortable to them. And I think the largest one was 185 pounds. So I'm thinking that this is a good average all-arounder seat for the size of people that use it. Again, I still prefer a bit my Sparco seat because it's an inch narrower, so it's more comfortable for me, because it hugs me more like a glove than this particular seat does, even though the seat gives me all the support that I really need. It's just a personal preference thing at that point. Right, so yeah, there's not much else to see here as far as, you know, what a seat does. And this one, again, at the price point that this thing comes in at around $300, it's quite a good bargain, I think, you know, for a seat that can grow with you as your cockpit grows. You may not have, you might be running like a Logitech, a Thrustmaster, or Elite Series, Fanatec pedals or something where you don't have a lot of brake pedal pressure, but you know, in the future, you never know where you're going to be, obviously. So yeah, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and buy a seat that can grow with you and your cockpit as your sim racing career grows. Right, so I guess that's about it. As much as we can talk about a seat. And yeah, what we'll do is get to the final thoughts next. Final thoughts on the NRG Prism racing seat. You know, I get emails from guys all the time asking if I know of a good racing seat that is more affordable than the ones from Sparco, OMP, Bride, and such. And I really didn't have a good answer, as I don't like to recommend something that I have not had a chance to test here in the SRG. So I went looking for a seat that wouldn't break the bank, but at the same time not be like some of the cheap eBay seats that have a lot of flex in them. A stiff bucket seat is really another sim racing cockpit item I think is a requirement to fully realize tactile feedback from other hardware elements we mount to our cockpits, with the brake pedal being one of them that comes to mind first. If you have a nice stiff seat shell, when you press on the brake pedal, especially a load cell equipped one, you get a more precise feel of the pressure it takes to apply the brake, which is important to be able to brake consistently. With a seat that flexes when you apply the brake, you lose some of the finer detail in the tactile feedback you get from it. If you have tactile and motion elements on your cockpit, again, a stiff seat shell will let you experience them much better. I could go on, but I think you guys get my point here. I can say that the Prisma seat is very stiff, just as stiff as my Sparco Evo seat, which is my favorite seat to date. But of course, my Sparco seat costs well over twice what you pay for this Prisma. And I'm actually a bit embarrassed to say that, with most of the savings coming from the fact that the Prisma is not an FIA certified seat, which means I would not want to mount it in a real circuit racing car, but I think it's fine for uses like track days and things like that. Everyone that tried this seat liked the smooth Alcantara-like material that it uses, and the multicolored metal flake finish went over quite well. This seat comes with a set of side mount seat brackets attached, adding some value to the Prisma. Also, I had several different body types sit in the Prisma, with no complaints of it being too tight from anyone. Unlike when they sit in my Sparco seat, which fits my 5'8" 150-pound frame like a glove. At around $300 for the Prisma, I think it's a good value. And we'll be able to serve the sim racing role just as good as my Sparco seat can. And should be at the top of your list if you're looking for a nice stiff bucket seat for your rig. I'm Barry Rowland. Thanks again for watching the Sim Racing Garage channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to help support what I do here at the SRG, visit my website at simracinggarage.com.